Welcome to a very special edition of More Insight. This is insight you can trust because there is more where it came from. I'm your host, Chris Moore. Today, I am going to get into Survivor Series, my thoughts, my analysis, and of course, the results of the PLE, the last PLE that John Cena will be a part of. So let's just get right into it. First and foremost, they say the only thing you cannot kill is time. But guess what? You can definitely disrespect it. And the disrespect was at an all-time level. WWE Creative, they disrespected every second that we gave them. You don't have a PLE like it's history in the making, only to deliver something that feels like it was booked on the way to the arena. Absolutely not. You can't promise to us that you're going to give us storytelling and give us unanswered questions. First of all, this PLE just didn't make sense to begin with, to me. That's starting from the women's War Games match, the men's War Games match, the Stephanie McCure versus Nikki Bella. Only thing that made sense was John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. Anyway, Triple H, this happened on your watch. We were all here for the Triple H modern era. But right now, I don't know what's happening. This wasn't just a bad PLE. This was time wasted. Y'all played in our face. Get it together. First of all, let's just go ahead and do away with War Games. War Games needs to go away until it actually makes sense. War Games feels like a DJ Khaled album at this point. When DJ Khaled was just putting people on songs just because he could. There's no rhyme, there's no reason, there's no structure, there's no chemistry. That's what War Games felt like to me this year. Just putting names in the hat. Hey, Brock Lesnar, he's back. Let's throw him in there. Hey, Jimmy and Jey Uso, they've been weird, but hey, we'll put them back together and throw them in there. CM Punk, Cody, Braun Breaker, The Vision, like all of these names, they're great names. Establish an all-star cast, if you will, all-star game-worthy appearances. But this just didn't make sense. So let's actually start from the beginning. The women's War Games match. It was cool. I mean, the babyfaces won. Io hit the trash can spot like only she can. I hope that we continue this year after year. But at the same time, like I just said, let's kind of just do away with War Games right now. But as long as War Games is around, Io needs to hit that spot. Hope that makes sense. Shouts out to Lash Legend, who came out. She was introduced last for the heels, which is amazing, which is huge, which is big, considering the names that were attached to this match. Newly engaged Lash Legend, that is. She's got some talent, man. She's going to get better the more she does this. It didn't look like the moment was too big for her, so I can't wait to see what happens to her in the future. If I were to be a booker, if I were to be a part of the creative team, I'm not looking to WrestleMania, but I'm looking at her for next year's SummerSlam, maybe the year after that. And let's see what her and Jade can do. Let's see if they can make some magic. But anyway, the babyfaces won. Shouts out to them. The next match we get, John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. This was well done. But I will say I hate the reality of him losing his last two matches of his career. I mean, John Cena's back half of his career has just been a waste to me. Took a pin against Austin Theory, who we'll talk more about later. Solo Sikoa. He did a tag match with Logan Paul earlier this year. A few years ago, he did a tag match with Nikki Bella. On, and now he has the match with Dominic Mysterio. No shade to those wrestlers, but those wins have what have they done for those wrestlers since then? You know what I mean? Solo is in this circle, in this cycle of being serious and then kind of playful. We don't even know where Austin Theory is. Hey, apparently he's a masked man. There's still an APB out for him. We haven't seen him since. This mysterious injury and Grayson Waller that breakup happened. Not sure what happened. Anyway, Dom beats John Cena. I will admit, Dominic Mysterio right now, he is cooking, and he's cooking with fish grease. Um, I was fooled into thinking that this dude was hurt. I was like, Triple H is going to ban the Hurricanrana from the barrier going forward. We just saw Penta get injured, and now I was under the impression Dominic was hurt. But this allowed Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez to interfere in the match, and then we see Dominic, he hops into the ring. The Judgment Day eventually come out. Super Cena pulled up to the show, gave them a double AA. Finn Balor, JD Madonna, they get the double attitude adjustment. Very impressive for someone who is John Cena's age, who's on the tail end, who's 48, saying, "Hey, I'm done with this. I can't do it no more." For him to still do the attitude adjustment to two people was actually very, very dope. But then we hear the giggles. Liv Morgan pulls up, enters the ring, and they Liv Morgan has been doing some TV shows, TV or a movie, I believe. I believe it was a movie. Whatever she learned in the acting class, it is carried over to the WWE. I mean, because she put on cinema. She slapped Dominic, gave John Cena a hug, and shouts out to the production team. The same hug, the same low blow that John Cena gave to Cody at Elimination Chamber. It was a callback, and gave the proper angle to show Liv's facial expression change. That was absolutely amazing. We then see Dominic set up the 619. Liv hits Cena in the face with the title. Dom goes up for the frog splash. 1, 2, 3. Best match of the night to me was actually Cena versus Dominic. And we are down to one more match for John Cena. And from the looks of this tournament, the last time is now tournament, it's probably going to be Gunther versus Cena for the last match. And going back to what I said earlier, the tradition is that you lose your last match on the way out. So it will be interesting to see, because John Cena lost tonight, will he lose that last match? Will he lose against Gunther? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be Gunther. In my mind, I would love to see LA Knight versus John Cena. But I know that's just that's not going to happen. It makes too much sense. So WWE Creative is not going to do it. Excuse me. The next match we see, and going back to Cena and Gunther, it looks like Gunther has kind of changed his look to go back to this underdog of Walter. You see him, he's coming out with the boxing robe, the ring general robe. He doesn't have the fancy coat that he had before. So it's almost like he's building himself back up. And maybe this tournament is what builds him back up. But even with him winning, it just gets sketchy for what he does going forward. As most of these wrestlers that wrestled tonight, the future is very cloudy right now. So I'm interested to see what happens creatively with these wrestlers and what the future holds. The next match, Stephanie Vercure versus Nikki Bella. This was a match that if you needed to go get snacks, you go get them. If you needed to go walk the dog, you go walk the dog. If you wanted to get started on some dinner for tomorrow, go ahead. This is a match that could have been on Raw. This could have been on this could have been a different opponent. It just didn't have the build. It didn't have the star attraction. There was no reason for this to be on this particular PLE, but it happened anyway. One thing about Stephanie Vercure, I want to shout out to Booker T, because as Stephanie is a really good wrestler, don't get me wrong, Stephanie is really good at what she does. But I believe that Booker T, his commentary, especially when it comes to the Kiss of Death, it's definitely created some buzz for Stephanie. When she does her kiss of death, I mean, the crowd goes crazy. And not to mention that she did it on the announce table and then did it in the ring. So shouts out to her. Like, you can only work with what you got. So for whatever this match was, they gave it to us. I would have preferred to see the title change hands. Survivor Series has a stickler for being an event where big things happen. I would have gone back and just did a new version of the screw job. Shouts out to Vince McMahon, Bret Hart, and Shawn Michaels. Maybe bring out Brie Bella. And then with Brie Bella coming out, doing some kind of trickeration that the Bella girls have done in the past. Hey, now you have a new champion. Stephanie McCure, she wouldn't look weak by it because there's interference. So there's still room for her to still grow. There's still room for her to be a strong champion in the future. But just to give us a swirl, give us something different. It doesn't have to be so predictable. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with WWE is that they're predictable. And then the things that keep you guessing aren't really things of intrigue, but it's more of like, why are y'all thinking like that? That doesn't make logical sense. Speaking of logical sense, we finally have the men's War Games match. CM Punk starts against Braun Breaker. We see chaos for a while. I'm going to hit the high notes here. Jey Uso enters. He put some moves in, and of course he ran it back. And when I tell y'all, when that man jumped on that cage at the very top and he was rocking out, I want him to be committed to his cardio and to his wrestling development like he is to rocking out to the Yeet theme song. I love the theme song. I love the Yeet, but I need Jay to step it up in the ring. By the time he finishes yeeting, his cardio is shot. So that tells me that he's arrived in his mind. But the thing is, it's not only just arriving, you got to stay there. And right now, the way to stay there is to get better in the ring. Get conditioned. Be one of these guys that takes advantage of the moment. But neither here nor there. Jey Uso is yeeting. I mean, going in, head rocking, and then boom. We hear that guitar riff. The Beast Incarnate enters, and one by one, he's laying everybody out. But then, our tribal chief pulls up to Survivor Series, and Brock exits the cage, which was interesting because the rules stipulate that if you leave the cage, you forfeit. But the match had not technically started, so Brock was able to meet Roman Reigns and fight on the outside for a while. Great spot with the F5 through the table. They went inside the cage. More chaos ensues. We're finally at the tail end of the match, and we see a masked guy in a hoodie. Sidekicks, CM Punk, curb stop, shouts out to Seth Rollins. But we know this isn't Seth Rollins. He's hurt. So now we have this whole Biggie situation of who shot you, but not so much who shot you, who curb stomped you, CM Punk. Braun then goes pin CM Punk for the win, which is amazing in itself. Braun Breaker is not a champion. He's a former Intercontinental champion, but CM Punk took the pin. So it looks like there could be a situation where we're seeing CM Punk versus Braun Breaker in the future. But of course, the only way that can happen is if CM Punk is still the champion by the time WrestleMania comes, and if Braun Breaker either wins the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber. So one of the two. So that's going to be an interesting thing. I think the bookers of the IWC are much better at making creative ideas than the current writers in the WWE. If you go online, whether it's Threads, X, YouTube even, I believe the bookers that are in the comments, some of them need to be added to the WWE creative team. People were clamoring that Jimmy needs to get jumped before the show and then insert John Cena. Personally, I think that would have been a little bit too much. I don't know if John Cena at this age is trying to handle a match and then do War Games. But I will say that one thing that I love about social media is that the wrestlers are tapping into social media. What I don't like about it is that WWE is not taking that and applying those to the storyline. I've seen tweets from Roman Reigns, not to mention if there's a person who's social media personality of the year, it would be Naomi or Trinity Fatu, who's now out on maternity leave. But her run on social media this year has been one to behold. Her whole situation with Jade and Bianca, that was top tier trolling. I mean, everything there was just chef's kiss. But I get it. You know, personally, I think the men's War Games match had way too many superstars because it kind of became overkill. It's difficult to advance these storylines, but you know, I get it. The tricky part is that we only have Saturday night main event on December 13th. I don't know how full that card is going to be because this is John Cena's night. This is John Cena's going away. This is last match. So I'm not sure how many matches you're going to line up. I would imagine, you know, shouts out to Triple H is going to be between 4 and 5. But we'll see. And then after December 13th, you don't have anything until January 26th when the Royal Rumble is in Saudi Arabia. So it's interesting to see what will happen from the upcoming Monday Night Raw up until the end of the year, essentially. And then going into Royal Rumble season, which kicks off WrestleMania season. Can't wait to see what happens. One thing I want to talk about was the final face-off between Roman Reigns and Cody and CM Punk. Roman said to Cody, "This is the last time we're ever going to be on teams." Cody said he's cool with that. So the internet is already talking about maybe we're getting ready for Roman versus Cody part 3. I just don't know what WrestleMania is going to hold. I don't think it's going to be a one-on-one type situation for one of those belts. I think a fatal 4-way makes sense. A triple threat even. Because there's so many names. And what are you going to do with all these names? Gunther. You still got Jey Uso, who wants to be in the title picture. What do you do with an LA Knight? What do you do with Braun Breaker, who's supposed to be the future main eventer of WrestleManias? And I ain't gonna hold you. Seth Rollins is supposed to be recovered by WrestleMania. So we've also seen where wrestlers have just pointed to the WrestleMania sign saying, "I'll see you there. Meet me there." Beat me there. Don't meet me there. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless. But again, we'll see. I would love for Roman Reigns to get another reign as champion. I actually would like to see him being the Raw champion so he can elevate that belt. Cody Rhodes, I would love to see him do a little bit something different, something kind of a little bit more aggressive than he is now. But there's a video coming about Cody Rhodes and John Cena and the torch passing of the Hulk Hogan blueprint, wrestling wise. We already know how Hulk Hogan was outside of wrestling. We want to stick to the wrestling. My top 5 moments from Survivor Series. Number 5, Lash Legend. She's going to be a star. It's written all over. The vibe is just there. Like I said earlier, I would love to see Lash versus Jade in a year from now. Let Lash develop. Let Jade continue to develop. She's doing good right now. Would love to see her in some matches, squash matches, of course, to help build her up as champion. Get that ready for Lash Legend. That will be a really good matchup. My second one was Charlotte Flair, just in general. teaming with Alexa has been the rebrand of the year. We can recall where Charlotte Flair had beef with Tiffany Stratton when things went left during that promo. But now that we're seeing Charlotte Flair in a different light, it's making her more likable. It's making us applaud her. It's making us respect who she is, because no matter what you say, Charlotte Flair is a bona fide talent. She's won the title 14 times, I believe. So she's more than just the Flair last name, but she's created her own path, and she's more than Ric Flair's daughter. She's Charlotte Flair. My third thing that I really enjoyed, the Io Sky trash can spot, just because it's a thing now, and I as long as War Games continues and as long as she's involved, I would love to see that spot continue. The next thing was Rhea Mask. As you can kind of tell, I'm kind of pulling right now. Rhea's mask was dope. With her contacts, wardrobe, it was a dope look. I would say a tie for that would be John Cena and Dominic Mysterio's ending of the match, where Dom got the victory. And my favorite moment from the Survivor Series this year, the credits. Because I was finally free from watching this bull jive. I mean, 4 matches. The War Games matches for the men and women took about an hour each. Stephanie Vicure, Nikki Bella was a doze fest. It was definitely a sleeper. But then Dominic and John Cena shine. So I hope going forward, I mean, they're rebooked the women's championship match. And if they would have added the U.S. title to the card, or the tag team titles to the card, I think that would have been a little bit better as well. Again, overall, I would say I hope they do away with War Games until it makes sense. This year, the men's War Games didn't advance any storylines except for who's the masked man. Why did this masked man join or interfere in this match? What's the big picture is what I'm looking at. Because there's no way interference should have been a part of this ending when you have a Brock, when you have a Drew McIntyre. I mean, they were killing these guys. They were killing Cody. They were killing CM Punk already. They were killing the Usos. I mean, they even had Roman Reigns down. So I don't know if interference was the right call, but again, I hope that the payoff is bigger than what we're seeing right now. And since we are here, the Masked Man, let me know in the comments who you think the Masked Man is. People are suggesting that it's Austin Theory. I hope it's somebody else, because I don't like things being predictable. And why would they debut Austin Theory in this way or in this manner? Because the last time we saw him, he was a mid-carder, even getting off of TV and injured with Grayson Waller. So it is what it is. But unfortunately, I also know that while I may have hopes that it's Trick Williams or Carmelo Hayes, I just know that's not going to work. There's no way they're going to align these younger guys like a Trick or Carmelo with a Bronson Reed or a Braun Breaker, because looks-wise, it just doesn't look right. Not to say it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. Especially, well, Trick Williams is probably the best one, but then there goes a situation where you have Trick Williams who's good on the mic. So does it kind of like propel him to be the leader, because he's always going to be on the mic? Because Bronson and Braun Breaker, they're not really on the mic like that. That's a Paul Heyman thing. So it's just interesting how they can construct and build this team they call the Vision. And then speaking of vision, there is a vision for this show. The vision is to grow, and I can't do that without you. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, make sure you like on social media, make sure you comment down in the comments, make sure you spread the word. Like I said, this is more insight. This is the insight you can trust, because there is more where it came from. I'm your host, Chris Moore. I am going to be doing some more wrestling content in the future, and big announcements coming up soon, because we are expanding. We're doing more with more insight, and it's only because of you. So make sure you all continue to help, continue to show your love. I appreciate anything you can do. Make sure you join the membership. There will be membership videos coming soon. And I can't wait to tap in with y'all. Let's build a community. Let's do some great things. And I'll see y'all again.